All right, hey, today we're talking about church security and safety. This is part 2 of 10, and we're specifically talking about the service time security. Going to show you exactly what we do in our church here at the Better Sundays podcast at reachkeep.com. Welcome to the Better Sundays podcast. Focused, practical, and usable advice for church leaders looking to reach new young families and impact their community. Well, howdy. Mike Holmes here in studio. Good to have you here. We are kind of focusing on security and safety for the next several podcasts here, doing some good training that churches need on how to make sure that everything is fine. You know, you can have all sorts of other things right. You can have your Bible right, and you have your music right, and all sorts of practice on that. Get your sermon down, get your illustrations. But I'm telling you, people are scared, okay, and they're afraid in your building, or they're worried about something. You're going to have a hard time making disciples and doing evangelism when that is present. So we want to make sure that we are covering all the different things. So if you missed the first podcast, we kind of went through some of the topics we're doing, everything from, nursery to identification to the idea of making sure that you're telling your people about safety and security. But today we're focusing specifically on what we call service time, safety and security. And this is like when you are actually in your facility building, whether it's owned or rented, and you are making sure that everything is fine. So that's what we're going to cover. I got a lot of notes here, and really I thought I'd just describe what we do at our church here out in Wyoming. Now our church is a little bit bigger in some regards. Physically, we don't have probably a gigantic attendance by any measure, but we do have a good-sized facility and want to make sure that things are safe and secure. So we have a security team. And this is probably the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have some people that are focused on doing it, that they are, and in this case, it's all guys that are our security team. We call them, we have kind of an interesting name for them. We have the security team, and one person always is in charge, and that is what we call the manager on duty. Now that kind of comes from the old hotel system where there's always a person who is in charge, the person that makes the decisions, etc. So we have one of those guys is always our decision maker during our service times. We run 2 different services, but at any given time, there's one person who can make the decisions. And I'll go through and cover some of that in just a little bit, where I go through and answer a few questions that I have gotten about church security. But it all starts with us, with having a team, making sure they have a team, and then we're making sure that we communicate well, that we are coordinated. So what we do every Saturday night is we do a Zoom call where we kind of get together and just kind of go through about 15, 20 minutes, make sure that we know what's going on, something special tomorrow. We got a banquet. We got someone stay in the building. We got missionaries. We got this. We got that. We go through some of those things. If there's been some security issues in the country, like some type of shooting or something like that, we usually review some of that. We review the roster of who's going to be there and who's not, because we have about 6 different guys that are involved in our team, but almost inevitably some of them are gone somewhere, and so we kind of make sure that we know everything's assigned. So we do that the night before with a Zoom call. You could do it with a phone call, works real easy. Then we meet ahead of time when we get to church. We get to our church about 45 minutes ahead of time. We have a VIP meeting. We call it Vision, Information, and Prayer. We meet, kind of go through some things, have a little prayer time, make sure everyone, the entire church knows what's going on, Sunday school teachers, etc., music people, and all come to that. And we have prayer at that time. And I failed to mention, but we have prayer by Zoom as well the night before. So that goes really, really good. One of the things that we make sure we do once the services start to get started, and our guys, our MODs, we call them, also kind of serve as what we would call ushers, kind of the standard, and some of them are greeting at the front door. But we make sure that our entire facility is cleared and checked and everything is fine. So we make sure, to left, right, up, down. We got, a couple different floors here. We kind of walk the building, make sure things are clear. And if something special is going on, then we know all about that. If there's a special person, we had someone come through today. This is being recorded on a Sunday. We had a guy who's riding his bicycle across America, and he decided to stop at our church and visit for a little bit. And, we got to witness to him, spend some time talking to him about the Lord, gave him coffee and donuts, and, eventually he left and went on his way. But our security guys were just right on top of that. So we really check our entire facility, and we don't just check it ahead of time. We walk the grounds during the entire time our services are going on. Now, we run 2 services, so we try to have 2 guys at one service, 2 at the other, and they would check the facility, go to the Sunday school area, go to the nursery, go to both ends, walk the parking lot, make sure everything's safe and secure. And one of the special things that they do is they walk into the back of the auditorium or stand just at the back where our doors are somewhat kind of ajar and open, and they stand there with their hands folded and just, listen to the sermon for a little bit, but the pastor can see them and know that everything is okay. The reason we want the pastor to see them and know that everything's okay, because one of the things that your pastor really cares about, he's very responsible about his congregation and everything, but when he's preaching, he is totally crippled and not able to do anything. And it is the guys out there that are taking care of his building and is watching his people. That's important to your preacher, so make sure that you do that. So we have them check the classrooms and kind of just simply peek in Sunday school rooms or junior church type rooms, kind of give the thumbs up. They give a thumbs up. That means everything's fine in there. We also have them do attendance counting and some of that. And just what I'm calling all these things is they go here. That is the presence of security. They are throughout the building all the time, and if anybody were to try to come to our building or even observe our building from afar, they would see security on the move all the time, going around. And they are well marked to security. They carry a badge like this, so people know that they are in charge. So they also, at the end of the day, they are the ones that secure the offering, and they actually count the offering and do a what we call a pastoral dashboard, and that's just a piece of paper that is given to the pastor at the conclusion of the service, and it has the special prayer requests written on it. It has the attendance of everything, how many in the nursery, how many classrooms, all those kind of things, auditorium things, any special notes and names of visitors, that we have gathered, and we have all that on that piece of paper. It just helps us be on top of things, and what it does is it makes those guys actually do something. They're actually, counting the cars and looking in the parking lot and checking the rooms and all that. And as they do that, of course, they are doing the preventative work of safety and security. Now, a couple questions that I want to go through, and I'm, again, trying to keep this short. Make sure that you follow the link on the end of this one. It will take you back to the first one, and then once we get all these recorded, we'll have them all linked, and you'll be able to listen to all the different ones. A couple of the questions that we get often when we explain security, and I go to other churches and do training on this, is do your guys carry, sidearm? And yes, the answer is we have many of them that are carrying a sidearm, and we know which ones are doing that, so we are prepared for any type of thing along that line. And of course, in our congregation, we have many people that are also carrying some of that. Another question is, what do you do about medical or emergencies? We make sure that our guys are well trained in the medical stuff, and not as much as an EMT. We do have a EMT/paramedic. I forget exactly what his level is, but he works in an emergency room, works ambulances, and he is one of our MODs. And he is a trainer as well. So recently we took all our guys through some training, some medical kind of advanced first aid type of training. And you'll want to do that with your people, your security team, so that they get trained. And when you train them all together, they feel like a team too, which is very important that they have that team aspect to them, because they might need to function as a team, at some moment. So we do have medical stuff. Now we have first aid kits. Everybody knows where those are, and then we have our medical guy has a go bag with just a lot more stuff, so we're always ready. And if he's not here, we try to identify in our congregation who our top medical person is, so if we had something happen right away, we do have a medical professional or someone with advanced training. We know who they are, we can identify them. We also have them do the securing of the offering. Our offering at our church is after it's taken at the end of the service, is taken back to the front of the building or the front of the auditorium. And so after the service, there's a couple guys go up there right away. It's taken to a secure place and taken care of at the end of the service with some reporting features that they do, and that works real good. Probably the most important thing, though, about security and about this safety and security thing that our guys do is we have given them the authorization to make decisions. There are many, many things that can happen. There's all sorts of different kinds of emergencies, from weather emergencies to evacuation to medical type of things that would affect, some of the congregation or maybe many of the congregation. And usually the people who are the decision makers in a church, the main decision makers, are pastors, assistant pastors, etc. And most of those people are actually training or in front of a classroom there, and they don't have time for any type of consulting. And so we have given our MODs, as we call them, managers on duty, the authority to make a decision. They can cancel the entire service. They can shut it down. They can evacuate the building. They can call the emergency room. They can call the sheriffs. They can do all sorts of things. That is something that they have the authority to do, and you're going to want to do something like that. So if you need more help on some of this training, make sure that you come by and check out the rest of these over the next several weeks. We're going to be giving more things on safety and security. So anyway, if this has been helpful, thumbs up would be good, but also make sure that you subscribe here to the Better Sundays podcast, and we will see you next week or the next time. Whenever you watch, you can follow the links at the end and go back to some of the other ones. But thanks for being with us here on our podcast. We appreciate you much, and we'll see you next time. God bless.